Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how
He's alive!
Welcome to where the weird ones are.
Every time I speak, I want the truth to come out.
Powerful figures in Hollywood, as well as powerful politicians who are in fact not human. They're reptiles or they're lizards or perhaps extraterrestrials.
I don't think it is a human. I think it's a Sasquatch.
Go ahead and run! Run home and cry to mama!
Let's get weird.
What's up, you fucking weirdos? Welcome to another episode of Where the Weird Ones Are. My name is Kevin, but you probably already knew that, and if you didn't, now you do. Today's episode is with Lala Bright. We met on Facebook. I can't remember I don't know. It doesn't matter, but I went to her profile and she had, a laundry list of things, and I was definitely intrigued. So she seems to have some kind of implant in her leg, I believe is where, or her ankle, and it sets metal detectors off. It's the size of of a grain of rice, and she talks all about it. We get pretty conspiratorial. Her boyfriend is a retired CIA agent, I believe is what she said, her words. But yeah, she's had some interesting things, some dreams, some spiritual shit. So, um, yeah. So, anyways, um, just so everybody knows, I am confirming today that I will not be in Gettysburg. I really wanted to be, but I took Friday off so that I could travel, and work kind of got crazy, and they need me to work. So, I don't really feel like traveling down there in one day for the in the on the same day as the actual event, which the event is 3 days. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So, but everybody that I wanted to see is going to be there on Sunday. So, so yeah, I just don't have the time for it. So if you were going, I hope you have a good time. But other than that, if you're looking to flavor up your food, for whether it's on the grill or you make your own pizza or whatever it is, I highly recommend Bigfoot's Breath by Flavors of the Forest. It's freaking great. I love the spicy, I love the ginger, I love the lion's mane, and I love their original just plain old garlic dust. So for the video, this is what it looks like. So head on over to flavorsforest.com/weird and get yourself some today. So the new hot sauce has dropped. It's called Down the Rabbit Hole. It's not on the website yet, but I promise you it will be within the next week or so. Just waiting for the labels to get here so I can put the labels on the bottles. I can take the pictures of the bottles and then put the shit up on to the website. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be it's carrots, habaneros, and a bunch of other shit to bring out that carrot flavor. So it's actually really fucking hot. I'm really impressed with myself. Which every sauce that I've made so far is I've impressed the shit out of myself. Um, so yeah. Anywho, um, if you like today's episode, please like, follow, share, subscribe, leave a rating and review. I'd greatly appreciate it. If your podcatcher doesn't allow a rating or a review, or at least a review, and you feel fancy enough to leave a review, you can head on over to the website where the weird ones are podcast.com. That's where you can get the sauce. That's where you can get the merch. That's where you can get the blog and the story that I'm writing, that I drop a chapter every Sunday. And if it's not out on Sunday, it will be the following that Monday. This past week it ended up coming out on Tuesday. So I'm gonna try and stick to my word here on Sunday. And if not Sunday, Monday. So hopefully it'll never come out on Tuesday again. So but yeah, the story just follows a young man trying to survive a zombie apocalypse. So I love zombie movies and stuff like that. So that's what drew the inspiration for that. But you can also get the gallery of people who have gotten merch. You can see all their lovely faces as they wear the t-shirts and whatnot. So yeah. Again, that's where the weird ones are, podcast.com. If you are looking, if you're interested in supporting the show a little bit more than just giving a listen and whatnot, you can head on over to patreon.com/weirdos only and subscribe there for $5 a month. Pretty inexpensive. You get a free coffee mug, and you get Mike's my Patreon exclusive shows, which is Storytime and Conspiracy Tuesdays. So yeah, if you're interested in that, I would greatly appreciate it. Again, you don't have to, not the end of the world. My life does not depend on it. I'm just happy that you are here listening to the regular show. So I have quite a bit of really exciting episodes coming up that I've been excited about to share with you, that I've already recorded, and I just can't wait to put them out. So they're both coming out next week. So I hope you guys tune in. Both of them were fantastic guests and phenomenal conversations. So anywho, um, I'm looking into doing a documentary. I have a GoFundMe to try and, raise some donations for said documentary. Not relying on it. I'm gonna make the garden. What the fuck? I'm gonna make the documentary regardless of funding. I just don't know. I just probably end up having to do it really by myself and like really cheaply, which will kind of suck. But it's totally good. It's all good. But yeah, if you're interested, a dollar, $2, it's on GoFundMe. I'm gonna put the GoFundMe on my website. So, um, yeah. So if you're interested in being featured on the show, you want to tell your stories, you can hit me up at where the weird ones are at gmail.com. You can get me on Instagram where _ the weird ones are. That's probably your best bet, to be honest. Also Facebook where the weird ones are. I'd love to talk to you about your experiences. We don't have to do video if you're worried about that and you'd prefer to be anonymous. We can definitely work something out there. So, anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode with Lala. She's a sweet lady, and she has some interesting stories. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Let's get weird! Let's get weird! Let's get weird! Let's get weird! Weird, get weird!
What's up, my fellow weirdos? This is Jen and Mondo from 305 Paranormal.
And you're listening to Kevin from Where the Weird Ones Are. If you like what you hear, like, comment, sub, and share to hear more. Peace.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode. I have a interesting guest for you tonight. So her name is Lala Bright. And I met her on Facebook. So I read her profile and it's very interesting. So I invited her on and she graciously accepted. So I'm very happy to have her here. So if you don't mind letting the good people know just, a little bit of your background and, and how you kind of got started into this, or I guess what the best question I guess to say it is, I guess what really, yeah, what really, where it all began for you, I guess, is the best way to phrase that.
Away. He didn't push it on me.
Mm-hmm.
He waited. I guess the first time I had a spiritual or a spirit visit and alien visits, I was around 5, 6 years old for both that I can remember. And our neighbor, we call Grandma Cheyenne, she had passed away, and we went to go visit and find her gravestone. And this one place in Baltimore, there's thousands of graves. It's a very large place. And so my parents went off one way and I went another. And I couldn't read that well yet. So I'm just walking around and all of a sudden I hear my grandma Cheyenne, who's passed, in my ear say, "I'm over here." And I felt led to her and I put my hand on her grave when I walked over to it. And I told my parents, and then my dad knew that it was time to kind of gently say who and what we are. My mom wasn't into it at all. She had a master's in psychology and she just didn't like that at all. So it was kind of a battle between the two. So I really kind of hid from it. And, I still have that internal battle within myself like, am I crazy? Is this real? Should I be doing this? It's just constant. I'm working on it. I'm 42, so I'm working on it. But, so I hid from it for most of my life. Sometimes I would do readings for people that needed it if they missed someone that passed. Um, I know I've been visited, I think my whole life. And when I was 5 or 6, I started having these dreams, like a couple times a month, every month, that I was in the backyard at night looking up at the sky, and these silver disc ships would just fly over me really slow, leaving. And I didn't know what they were. And then a couple years later, my dad watched an alien movie and I saw a UFO in it. And I said, "Oh, I know what they are. I dream of them all the time." And UFO, the alien topic scared my dad a lot. I found out later why, but he didn't touch that subject at all. But I found out like 20 some years ago. I was visiting a guy I was dating in Florida, and I would fly back and forth a lot from Maryland to Florida. And I kept setting off their metal detector. I forgot exactly what it's called. But finally, I'm like, "What? Can I see what you're looking at? Because I don't have anything in my pockets. And then I look at it, and it's something little in my left leg, the size of a piece of rice. And so I have an implant. I don't have a scar there. It doesn't hurt there. There's no lump there. And I flew recently with Bob to Reno. It's still there. So it's just, I guess they monitor me, but I think they've always been in my life, pretty much.
Yeah. So every time you go through one of those detectors, it goes off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
man.
I'm freaking out like, oh my God, I don't want to be searched, But I can't say, hey, I have an implant. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. So what do they do after they realize that it's inside of you?
Nothing. It's weird. It's almost like they're used to seeing things. I'm sure they are. I'm sure they see a lot of implants and just
I'm sure.
move you along. They don't say anything at all.
Right.
So, but I don't ask either. I want to ask, but I don't want to piss them off. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I have a friend that had knee surgery and he ended up getting pins in his knees. So I'm sure they probably think it's something medical. Um so and then just like, oh well, it's inside of her, so we can't really do anything about it. We're not gonna cut her leg off if I can find this thing. So all right, you're good. Yeah, yeah. That'd be an interesting bag of drugs the size of a rice. Um, so when do you know like when the first do you recall the first time you had realized that this was inside your leg? Oh, okay.
but the one thing when I get abducted or they visit me, I call it alien Xanax. Whatever they do to me, it makes me numb. Because I'm a nervous person and I have anxiety all the time. I can't help it. And when I'm nervous, I'll chatter too much. But when they're around, I'm calm. I don't fight anything. I don't run. And I don't
Mhm.
talk about it. And I don't research anything. They don't want me to, they want to keep me quiet. And so even when I'm telling my story to people, it's almost like I'm fighting my words to get it out. It's the strangest feeling. It really is. Um, and the only reason I'm doing this is because a few years ago, I lost my parents and my boyfriend of 15 years. And so I didn't have anybody to talk to. So I decided to stop hiding who I was and give readings for people so that they weren't hurting. And
Mm.
I found a YouTube channel I would listen to. I would fall asleep listening to at night because it was about spooky stories. And one night, my now boyfriend Bob McGuire, he was on it. I didn't know who he was, and I got that usual feeling I get when I have to give a message. And so I contacted him and I said, I don't want anything. I'm not a weirdo, but I have a message. If you want it, good. If not, fine. Um, and so I gave him a message. He was impressed, and I found out that he's retired CIA and NSA. And so he tested me to make sure I was really real. And we started a friendship, and then eventually we moved in together. And so he videotapes everything, audio tapes, and he's the first person I actually opened up to about everything. It's I swear we were meant to be put together for a lot of like soft disclosure kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, kind of like ease yourself into being more comfortable with your experiences kind of thing.
Yeah,
You know.
and it's healing. I mean, I would have never opened up to anybody, especially the
Mhm.
public. So
Yeah.
it's a healing in a way to express myself. People don't judge me or think I'm a weirdo. It's nice. I've never felt this before.
That's good. That's good. I'm happy you found that. That's great. You know, I hope everybody in the world finds something like that. You know, where they're comfortable to share their weirdo, their inner weirdo, the weird things that have happened to them, or you know, whatever, their deepest, darkest secrets and stuff, and still be loved. You know, and accepted.
Perfect person has either had an experience or is some secret freak. So I mean, don't I've learned this as I get older.
Yeah.
Everybody's a weirdo in some sense. So.
Yes. Yes. Um. Yes, I agree. Um. So, do you recall the first time that you were ever taken and what that experience was like?
A lot of times I thought they were dreams, but I learned later on that that's what they do. It's a screen memory.
Yep.
Um, so I'm not sure. I'm assuming when I was a little girl, what it wasn't really a dream, but I was actually watching them leave me in my home.
Hmm.
But the first time I remember seeing a craft, I was probably 18, and I was in a field, Pennsylvania Maryland line, and it was nighttime out, and I was drawn to this star, and I kept looking at it, and then all of a sudden it swirled around another star, zigzagged, and then shot off and disappeared. And that was the first time I'd seen something like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
what's going on, you know? Um, but I know now that they do things. They call me to find them. It's very interesting, you know. It's that feeling like, oh, look up here, it's them talking to you. Um, and then I saw. Well, can I share another experience of a craft I saw?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
I used to live before here. I used to live near Martin State Airport, which is a government base, and it's next to Lockheed Martin. You know, they kind of share
Hmm.
things together. And there was a lot of strange paranormal activity. There were a lot of white orbs following planes as they landed, and then a helicopter would be following these orbs. There's always a
Oh,
helicopter
wow.
with a UFO, always. And one time it was daylight, and I was driving around. It was only a block from my house, and I was driving. I saw all these little, one big orb, and then little ones around it, kind of fluttering in and out of vision. And there was a black helicopter here, and two white helicopters off farther, right? And the guy in the helicopter, he was standing up, and it looked like he had a bolted in bazooka. It was weird, and they were pointing it at these orbs, and they were. So I followed them for a long time. I just kept going in a circle, and I swear they came their helicopter came so low to the ground that the wind or whatever pushed my car off the road. It was crazy.
Shit.
It was, I mean, exciting to me at the time, you know. But and another time I saw a craft up close to where I saw the detail of it. I mean, it was
Oh,
amazing. I was driving. Well, my friend and I were getting coffee parked, and then all of a sudden we saw these red, fiery balls fly over us to the point where it got us nervous. We didn't know what they were. And so I went back on the road to take her home, and all of a sudden there's this huge, fluffy cloud in the sky, and a dark helicopter, was hovering and shined its spotlight on the cloud. And in the cloud was this huge craft. It was like a football field big, you know, but I saw a part of how big it was, you know. And when I drove under it, it was black metal, and it looked like a bunch of pipes intertwined with each other, and the pipes were as wide as the body of the helicopter. So this was really, really big. And
wow.
when I drove under it, I didn't see the sky anymore. I just saw the ship. Like, that's how close this thing was. And then I have missing time, and so does she. So it's always either I think it's a dream, or they visit, and while I'm awake. I see it, but then I have missing time until the next day. So that's how it is with me.
Wow. Wow, that's interesting. So you were close enough. It came close enough that you could see visually all the details of it. That's
Yes.
amazing. That's amazing.
And
Um,
they didn't move, they didn't fly off, they just hovered.
mm. And so do you ever have to do like a regression to remember your missing time, or have you never really thought of doing that?
Regression by Deb Shakti. The first one's always kind of gentle. She's a gentle person. She's wonderful. Anybody
Oh,
should go to
nice.
her for readings or regression.
Hmm.
But I wanted it to be more gentle, so we didn't get to that part. But I am planning on doing it again because I want to know. There's some things that have happened to me that I really want to know what's going on. I just
Right.
did an interview with someone the other day, and they think that I'm part of the. And from what I've explained, they think I might be part of some MK Ultra situation or my lab. And Bob said my lab to me before, so I mean, it's that makes me nervous, so I don't really look it up too much. But I would like to get more answers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you deserve more answers. So,
Yeah.
So do you ever do you have any memories of being on the craft at all, or is it just like before and after stuff?
Have So I'm psychic, and when a spirit visits me, I call it a visitation dream because even though it's a dream, they're actually there, and I
Mm-hmm.
remember it, right?
Right.
And so that's how it is with when I get abducted. It's a visitation dream, but with aliens. And sometimes I'd be on, like, there'd be no color, it's just all bland. I'd be on a metal table, and I can never see their faces, but they're standing around me, and some are really tall and skinny, and some are like regular, you know, human size height, and they all have this like weird material on. Um, and the one time when I was laying down, they were doing surgery on my lower stomach with their hands, and it wasn't gory, it wasn't bloody or painful, but they were in my stomach with their hands. And when I looked, I heard one of them say, "Don't let her see." And then they stopped that. They must have knocked me out. And the next thing I remember is that I see myself holding two twin boys in my arms. There must have been like 3 years old, and they both have dark hair. I'm looking at myself, and we're both like, what's going on? And then I wake up. And that was the strangest feeling. I know a lot of people talk about hybridization,
Mm-hmm.
and especially with O negative. I'm O negative blood, so a lot of O negatives are part of that.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Have so have you had another like dream or vision of anything of these boys at all, or was it that one time?
Those two, I've had those boys show up separately after that here and there, but never together.
Okay.
And the only other thing I have with the abductions is that sometimes they leave behind triangle or V shape bruises. Or one time I take pictures of this and I post it on Facebook publicly so people can see. One
Mm-hmm.
time it was two circles next to each other with circles inside the circles kind of bruised. And recently, a couple days ago, I woke up with a V shape, a V shape right here, which is a weird place to get a dark bruise.
Yeah.
And 2 days go by and it's gone. And so when I bruise, I don't bruise my upper body, I bruise easy on my legs. But when I get a bruise, that thing's there for like 2 months. It ain't going. But when they give me a bruise, it goes within like 2, 3 days. So, and then today, Bob, I was getting dressed and Bob said, "What's that bruise under your breast?" And it's maybe this small, but when I feel it, it feels like something's inside. It's weird. I've never had a
Huh.
bruise that felt like something was inside, so I don't know.
Maybe
But that'll
another
be gone in
implant.
2 days too. But I do want to. I want him to look at it more to see, because something might
Yeah.
be an implant. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking, like implant maybe, especially if you feel like something's inside there. That's
It
strange.
feels flat.
Yeah.
It's weird, like a flat disc, but it's so tiny.
Huh.
I know I sound like a weirdo. I know.
No, no, you don't at all. I mean, I appreciate the stories and everything. So, I mean, I've had some really weird stuff happen to me. There's a memory that I've had through regression. Like I remember everything around it and everything, but I stumbled across when I was 10 years old. I stumbled across a village of mushroom people, and they healed my eyesight because I used to wear glasses when I was a kid, and now I don't wear. I haven't needed glasses ever since. So that's weird. So, there's not really a whole lot of stories that I hear that you know is like I'm just like this is really weird. I find these kind of stories more interesting than anything. Um, and the more comfortable people are to tell these stories, I think is first of all is better for them, especially mental health. Mental health, dealing with like especially abductions, because abductions can be traumatic as hell. Um, so I think talking about it is like really, really helps, and to have somebody that you can tell. I mean, you have Bob, um, to tell all your stuff to, so that's amazing. Um, a lot of people don't have that, so I just like, yeah, that's like the main reason, one of the main reasons I kind of start. I mean, I like having these conversations to begin with. But if I can help somebody with like just being somebody that they tell their stories to that they've experienced, I mean, who am I to say that it didn't happen? Like they feel it's real, so yeah, it happened. Um, thank thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah, it's the world we live in is a strange place. People are always judging everybody, and I kind of wish that it wasn't quite like that. So I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll see the change in our lifetime. Maybe not. There are people out there now that are trying to, bring forth like these paranormal experiences to like the professional therapy field to make it so that the therapist isn't saying that, oh, you hallucinated that or something like that. You know what I mean? Like to make it more acceptable as an experience. So, my friend Deborah is one of them. She's trying that. So I think that is a fantastic footstep forward for experiencers and contactees of any kind, whether it's a cryptid, an alien, or a ghost. So,
Situations in my life
hmm
myself because I was so scared that someone would lock me up. I really was. Like one time I was in the basement of my parents' house. I probably was like what 18 or something. And I saw this little tiny bright as the sunlight appear on the wall in front of me. And then it went up and down, really narrow but really bright. And this shadow man slid out of it and slid into on the wall and into the really dark back room. And he didn't have legs. It was just like his torso up, and he was facing this way, and his face was sideways. And I remember he had puffy hair and a large nose, and he was real thin. And after that happened, I started feeling like pressure movements on the bed. If I brought a boyfriend or even a male friend over into my, because I had like a little downstairs apartment,
hmm
they would scare them out of the house. It knocked my cat out cold, and
Oh
my
shit.
cat passed out. My boyfriend and I at the time, we would wake up having the same snake nightmare. It was it was crazy. Yeah, the snake has visited a couple of times. I don't know what the symbolism is of that, but and then after I lost my parents, there was something. I know now that when you're in grief and trauma, that things will hang around because you're lower level energy, right?
hmm
Which sucks.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's horrible. I didn't know. You know what I mean? And something really bad started coming around, and it tormented me. It did. I mean, it would, and when I would dream of it, it would have pure white eyes. It was some demon man with just white all the time, and it scared the crap out of me. And then when I would be awake, like one time, big heavy boxes piled up on top of each other in the doorway so I couldn't get through. And the cat's looking up at something, or like they got one of the cats to attack me.
Oh
Um,
shit.
I woke up to something being inappropriate with me. I mean, just messed up stuff. And I almost lost my mind. It scared me so much.
Mm.
And I still have a fear like, is it around? I don't know what it was. Some say incubus, some say reptilian. I don't know. But it scared me.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you felt like it was like an incubus situation. I mean, it's really so you have, the inappropriateness of it, right? Which, says possible incubus, but you also have this experience with the abduction there where you have, these twins. So I almost sometimes, because sometimes I wonder if it's either one or the other, like say, it's an alien, you're seeing an alien, but it's really a demon, or maybe the alien is the real thing and the demon's fake, like they're portraying it as a demon thing entity, like either or. So like, did the I guess my next question would be, did the inappropriate entity happen before you saw the children? Yeah, I could. Yeah, because it's a. So would like do you know like the incubus lore? So like,
So I've just had experiences. I didn't research anything. If that makes
okay,
sense.
yeah. I mean, I didn't start researching anything until recently, so I never really all my experiences. I was like, that was fucking weird, but so like so a succubus is a female, and that usually takes the seed from a man. Um, and I mean, it tends to get torn, like, because every, like, dudes be like, oh, yeah, I would love that, or whatever, but it's not really that as great as, especially like, anime makes it look, or something like that, or, pop culture. Yeah. Like, yeah. Succubus is, tends to not be very attractive. It's a demon, so, um, but yeah, anyway, so they take the seed from the man and they give it to the incubus, and then the incubus implants it into a female. So, and it's supposed to be like the spawn of like a demon or something like that, which can translate into being a hybrid child. Uh-huh.
So when I have a bad visitation, they'll come in, step in, and help me or comfort me. Because I knew it was really something bad in my dream. It wasn't just a regular dream. And anyway, I remember it scared my mom, and I got so if somebody scares someone I love, I get into lion mode, and
Mm-hmm.
I screamed at this demon, and it sounded scarier than it was weird, but it had this weird feeling to it. This kid, I don't know, it was just creepy. I didn't understand. When I woke up, I went to the New Age store and got stuff just in case. You know what I mean? To protect myself. It
I
scared
mean,
the
yeah,
crap out of me.
understandable.
Yeah.
Understandable. Um,
Well, that's
So
fun.
how often do you have these experiences? Is it like constantly every day, every week, or every other week or something?
Every other week.
Okay.
Especially now that I'm more aware of it. I'm not sure what it was before I was with Bob, but now that I'm aware of what's going on and what to look for, because before if I would wake up with a weird bruise, I just like, what did I do to myself to get that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And we videotape. We have cameras in the bedroom that pick up stuff and outside, and sometimes when I get abducted that night, an entity will show up on the cameras outside, and so
Oh
that's just
shit.
further proof. It's crazy.
Yeah.
We had one show up as an orb, moved our heavy camera to face the neighbor's roof, and when he moved it, he looked like a light. It was a human shape, but it was all light with a fog around it. And he moved it, and then once he moved it, he went back into an orb and flew off. And then they started to light up that neighbor's roof all the time. It's like this weird crawling light. They haven't done it in a while, but they would do it a lot, especially when I was about to have a visitation from them. They would ramp it up, so then I knew something was going to happen. But
Mm,
it's interesting.
yes. Very, very interesting. Um, had a question as you were talking, and I forgot it, and then now it's gone. So sorry about that. Um, because I do this thing where I ask the like I'll form the questions as we talk and stuff. I don't like go by a script because I don't want it to sound robotic or anything like that. Um, and for the listeners, they're probably like, Jesus Christ, dude, like get your shit together. This is like every time, every episode, you forget something. Um, yeah. Um, so yeah, it's have you so you can remote you also can remote view. Um, you're a medium, you're a contactee, you're an abductee. Um, you're
Baby. Sorry, Bob dropped something. My kid's freaking out. He's playing with a laser printer and he fucked it up. Anyway, sorry. Sorry, go ahead. I'm
it's
sorry.
it's all right. It's all right. Um, I guess have you ever had my question would be have you ever had like a positive experience? Yeah, well with any of it, really. I mean, cuz well, actually on the topic of remote viewing, that falls in line with like an MK Ultra situation where they cuz like I'm sure Bob's told you the CIA were was it the CIA? I'm pretty sure it was the CIA. They had, this project where they had remote viewers and stuff like that, and I'm pretty sure they used MK Ultra so that they didn't remember afterwards or something like that. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly. Oh, I got you. Yeah.
Psychic stuff. But
Yeah.
it's different. Um, I well now we get taught sometimes by Simeon Hines, and he was taught by what Ingo Swan is that his name? He's a government remote viewer. He passed now, but now I know how to construct it better, so it's
Mhm.
easier for me, and I get out of my own head.
Yep.
You can't doubt yourself as much because you're just writing it down. What you
Yeah.
see, feel, smell, all that. Um, I mean, I enjoy it because a few times I've helped with cold cases, and so that's what I enjoy. I mean, it was sad, but I liked helping. Um,
Mhm.
so missing kids, of course, they were all passed, but um, it was. I like that I could help, but it was also validating that I'm not really crazy. If a police officer who tested me is using what I'm seeing to help the case, so that
Yeah.
was nice too. Because it's hard for me. I do doubt myself a lot, but um, and of course I like connecting people with people they miss, and some spirits are very interesting. They either have a sense of humor, or one time it was a wife that had passed, and she contacted me. She she put his picture on my Facebook. It just popped up, right? And so I got the feeling like, okay, I'm supposed to say something. So I did the spiel like, I don't want anything. Here's your message. And he said, well, you know what? You're the second psychic to message me this week saying that my wife came to them too. And I gave him a few readings just because and she had only passed a couple months ago. And so I just wanted to help them feel better. Anyway, I'm reading for them, and I go, I know this sounds weird, but she's showing me like whips and chains. and other stuff, and I explain it, and he's like, "Oh my god, nobody knew that we're deeply into S&M. Like nobody knew about this stuff." And so I've never had that as
Gotcha.
validation for a person to be like, "Hey, you remember the bondage thing?" But it was very interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that
So
goes into like what you were saying earlier. Like everybody has some kind of weird to them. Um,
yeah,
that's not my thing, but I'm not gonna put anybody down for doing that. But yeah, especially if they're like, let's just keep this between us, and then you're telling him, and like that's valid. That's definitely validating. He's like, oh shit, I never told anybody. Um, that's awesome. That's pretty cool. I like the fact that you like set out to, help people. That's awesome of you. Like that just is a testament to like the goodness and of the warmth inside of you. Like like that makes you an amazing person in my eyes. You're welcome. Yeah.
I never met anybody, but I must have gave like 15 free readings away because every time I connected with someone, they were a widow. So I was always drawn to somebody and didn't know why. And so, and I'm like, okay, so I'm on this dating app to help people heal. Is that? And so I thought that was interesting. So wherever I go, it follows me, which is nice. I don't mind. Sometimes I have to take a break
Yeah,
because it's just
understandable.
too much for me.
Hmm.
I've learned how to protect myself now, but before I would get physically hurt, like I literally got a hernia from giving a reading. There,
Oh
and
wow.
I didn't know you could do that honestly, but I was given a reading for an older lady passed with a lot of health issues, and hernia was one. And all of a sudden, I was given a reading, I started beads of sweat, and I don't sweat at all. And I mean, especially not like that, and just beads of sweat. And I'm starting to feel sick, and I have pain by my belly button. And so I go to the doctor the next day, which I don't like going to the doctor, so this is a big deal. And she goes, "Well, what did you lift that was heavy? Because you did something. You got a hernia." I was like, "I didn't lift anything." She's like, "No, you had to." So I can't tell her, well, I gave her a reading, and you know, the
Yeah.
spirit. I I don't know how that happens, but I used to get into a lot. I'd get sick, or I'd get angry or sad. So I would take a couple months off and then take a couple months on. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just like regular work. It's good to take a break sometimes. You know,
yeah,
you can't be a beacon for everybody all of the time, you know. Y-
anybody that's psychic is listening, I would absolutely say to protect yourself, especially when you go out in public to like Walmart or whatever. Even if
Mhm.
you don't believe this, just imagine a bright light all around you, bottom of your feet, top of your head, and just pretend that the light's protecting you. Because even if you don't believe it, the visualization will help because everything we think, uh, you know, it eventually materializes. So this world is strange. This is what we think, what we say. It will come around us eventually. So just do that.
Yeah, yeah, the power of manifestation is ever
Big
so
time.
real. I mean, it's just like what you feed your mind becomes your reality. Like if you see your life as shit, it's gonna be shit. And if you see your life as sunshine and rainbows, it'll be sunshine and rainbows. I know it sounds a lot easier saying it, but like you just gotta break the cycle and believe in yourself. And I know that's the hardest thing to do sometimes, is believing in yourself. I mean, I'm guilty of it. We are our own worst critics all the time. And I'm extremely hard. I'm one of those kind of people that's extremely hard on themselves about everything. And when I get, you know, what compliments and stuff on a, it makes me feel weird because I'm not used to compliments, and I've been getting a lot of them lately, and I don't know. I'm getting better with them because usually I'm just like, no, and then but now I'm just like, oh, okay, thank you. Um, but yeah, I mean, it just the power of manifestation is um is so real. You gotta and then sometimes I feel like that is, you know, manif like cryptid sightings and stuff like that. I feel like the more we talk about these experiences and the more people talk about it, it tends to become real. Like Slender Man was a big internet thing. I don't know if you ever heard about Slender Man. Um yeah, and it was a big internet thing, and then all of a sudden like there's videos or people having sightings and stuff like that, and it was a made up story. And now it's become a real thing, and like actual like murders have been happening in the name of Slender Man. So it's really manifestation is weird, is real, and I would highly recommend you be careful with that kind of stuff. With that, so like everybody listening. Hmm. Yeah.
It's interesting, and also there's lots of if you Google it, words are spells, right? They can be good or they can be bad. And so a lot of times we'll say something we always say and not know that there's a negative undertow to it, like especially lately, kids say, "Oh, I'm dead," and that's supposed to mean good, right? But they're literally saying something that's creating this magical energy. I know it sounds stupid, but
Yeah.
everything there are things around us that know how to camouflage themselves, right? And there are
Hmm.
things around us that can go from realm to realm, and they always can hear us, always, whether it's good or whatever else. And so you really have to be careful. So
Yeah. And the death rate for young people right now is a lot higher than it's ever really been, to be honest with you. And that not to their fault or anything or any, one. I mean, who knows? Maybe it is. But like, you got these mass shootings that seems to target young people a lot, like it's happening in schools and all this stuff, and you know, death suicide pacts and happen among young people. And it's just and jealousy. Oh my God, jealousy lately has been crazy. I've been hearing stories about murders that, I mean, it's mainly like girls that are killing their best friends because their best friend is better looking than them or something like that. Like I've heard several stories of stuff like that, and it's mind-blowing to me that they're setting up their best friends to be murdered just because of a disagreement or their friend has something that they don't possess like the personality trait to be friendly with everybody so everybody becomes their friend kind of thing, like popular I guess would be the word. Mhm.
or young adults or any age. They make them do something that they normally wouldn't do, and it's crazy. I don't know if CERN blew up something that and opened up something. I don't know, but there's
Mhm.
something different. It's
Mhm.
very different now than what it used to be.
Oh yeah.
So,
Uh, this to like go off of that. Um, so recently we did well, actually not recently, but it's almost 2 years. Oh my God, 2 years ago. So my sister used to be my co-host for the show, and we did like this little like special intro for one of my guests, and we ended up doing like a little. She did like a presentation about the Mandela effect, where she was asking us like, how do we remember this, and then she'd show us a picture or a video or whatever. So she showed me a video of Tom Cruise from Risky Business doing that, the dance in his underwear and the shirt. So she's like, what do you remember about this? I was like, white button up shirt, he's in his undies and sunglasses. And then she played the video, and it was like a salmon pink shirt or something like that, and he wasn't wearing sunglasses. And I was like, this is bullshit. So then I recently did an episode about the Mandela effect, and I brought that up, and one of my friends, he was like, that was on the round table discussion about it. He's like, no, it's white, and he was wearing glasses. I was like, no, I seen the video. So I was like, I'll show you right now, and I pulled it up on YouTube, and he's in a white button up with sunglasses, and I was like, what the hell is this? So I feel like it's just like our timelines keep like going like this, and like it removes things and then puts it back, and then removes it and puts it back. It's really, really odd.
the only thing that I can say, I honestly, is that I used to be a skinny person. I always wear Skechers sneakers, right?
Uh-huh.
So I used to have really bad OCD, and I would type. This sounds weird, but I would type the word out with my toes like obsessively until I would like it was bad. Anyway, so I knew it
Yeah.
had a T in it, and then all of a sudden, I my son, I got him Skechers, and I saw something online about it. And I said, no, that's bullcrap. And I looked at my son's shoes, and there was no T anymore in it. And supposedly there's never been a T in Skechers. I'm like, that's bullcrap. Yes, there was. So I am. This happened. I believe there was a T. And the only other thing is, one time I kept noticing that the moon didn't have, the man on the face on the moon we see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, for like a couple weeks, it didn't have it anymore, and I thought that was weird, so I Googled it. This was a few years ago. I looked it up on Google, and I couldn't find anything about the face on the moon. Nothing. No man on the
Uh,
moon, no face, nothing. There was one drawing. Someone did a drawing of it, but that was it. And no websites, nothing. And then a couple of days later, I noticed that the face on the moon was back, and I Googled it, and it was all the articles were on Google again about how the moon does have a little face on it. It's fucking weird. Oh, can I say that? Sorry. Sorry.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, you can curse. It's,
But it's
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 not.
just weird.
Yeah, we uh we like to be ourselves here, so you just talk the way you normally would.
Well, yeah, I do. I think we flip flop a lot. I think some of it. I think some is the government was a psyop where they try to make us confused. So you know,
Yes.
because if
Yes,
we're
psyops
confused,
and false
yeah,
flags. They keep you in
right.
a fear state and keep you confused. That's what they want to
And
do.
and then they can control us easier. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I agree. I agree. Now, within saying that, do you think, with all your experiences with aliens, do you think the government is working with or for the aliens, or the aliens are working for the government at all?
With a part the government. Probably a
Mm,
part so hidden that the government don't know about. I think there's a
yeah.
section.
Yeah.
Um, and I think, well, there's different types of aliens. So I think there's one type that's working with government. I think there's another type that the government is like has them captured and testing on them. And then there's another type that have control over us because
Mm,
they're powerful and they can do whatever they want, and they don't. There's got to be some type of treaty or something going on where they have a plan like we'll do this for you if you do this for us. Um, some people think they're allowing testing on us, animals and us. Um, so I don't know, but I just want to say that they're not all creepy. The ones that come around here now, they they feel they never gave me the impression. They gave me the impression that they kind of stay in the back, but they're here to help humans. But
hmm
they can't exactly come too close for whatever reason, you know.
Yeah, that's interesting. Um, have you ever experienced one of those what the hell are they called? The praying mantis looking things?
That guy,
No,
no, I don't want
no.
to.
Yeah, because those ones seem to be the ones that like do like the horrific like um surgery stuff, which is really interesting.
And I don't want to see. I hate spiders to begin with. I better not see an alien spider, okay? And I better not see a werewolf alien either. I'm gonna shit myself. Sorry.
Well, don't watch the Spaceman movie with Adam Sandler on Netflix.
Oh, now I
'Cause
gotta see it.
he gets visited by a tarantula looking alien.
Oh God, I bet you they are. I bet you some of them. I think there's lots of stuff on Earth, like octopus, especially in the ocean. I think there's a
Yeah,
lot of ocean beings that are actually like a smaller version of a big ass alien that
yeah.
that they're connected to. You know what I mean? Our DNA connected to. I think I think a lot of things we think are just bugs or sea creatures are actually a type of alien that we just don't know yet. You know?
Uh, yeah. I heard a theory that I found pretty interesting that some of these UFOs that we see might be like actual organic creatures rather than a craft. And they're just light, so they can float and stuff like that. So, have you di- ha- have you ever happened to see anything that could like you're not sure, like I'm not saying that you're 100% sure or anything, but like maybe you could attest to that like a little bit, validate that or anything, something like that, or
The size of a basketball, it was metal, but it had a glow.
yeah.
And it went from the neighbor's roof over to our roof and then disappeared. And that was amazing. It did, but it wasn't a craft, it was just this thing. I don't even know what it was. And then
All
we've
right.
had others that were balls of light, but they weren't orbs and they weren't metal. They were just this being. And
Hmm.
they could flash. And we've got it on video, they flash. And so I got the camera flash and I flashed back and it would flash back at me. It was amazing. It was intelligent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is interesting. Sometimes I think that we might be the extraterrestrials and all of like cryptids and aliens that they were already here, or either that or they're just already here, you know. Um, because there's times where I'm not 100% sure if I believe that there's other galaxies. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying that there isn't. I'm just saying like there's been yeah, there's times where I think that we've been lied to about space. technically. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like the cloud in front and behind it, and a moon picture with the cloud in front and behind it. And I know you can cameras do weird things, but it's too freaking close to be
Mm-hmm.
that far. How come we can get detailed pictures of the moon, but we can't get detailed pictures of the planet or whatever the hell that's almost the same, space size? It doesn't make sense. And the other thing is that when regular people get their telescopes and look at the stars, it looks like they're underwater. There's this weird wavelength thing
Glimmer,
going on.
yeah. Yeah.
And it just, I think we're lied to. I know we're lied to. I think where we live is something completely different from what's actually going on. And I think some people think that we're here to give energy to some other being. What's it called, loosh or something, where they can test on us and they take our energy. So most of the time we're kept in a fear state or a survival state, or we're in pain, or something shitty's going on, or the news is telling you all this crappy stuff. It's to keep us at a frequency that is easier to suck some type of energy out from us. That's that's just a part of what I think's going on. I don't know, but anyway.
I mean, anything's possible at this point. There's so many like rabbit holes that I've gone down where, I was
Yeah,
thinking one way and then I went down this hole and I was like, well, maybe it's this. And then,
yeah,
the more I look into stuff, I'm like, maybe it's, I don't know. I don't know what it is anymore. I don't know. And
yeah,
if the Earth is a globe, I'm not saying that I believe that it's flat or anything like that, but I have discussions about the Earth being flat all the time, just because it interests me, like the thought process and the the things or evidence, I guess, that people use to validate that. Um, so I find that really interesting, but at the same time, I'm not sure, and I'm not saying that the Earth is flat, but if it is a globe, I don't think we're moving. You know what I mean? Yeah.
ask me what I think of its flat. My answer is, I truly think it's neither. I think we are a realm that, and that they make us think we're on a solid planet or in a solid place, but it's kind of imaginary almost. Is we're just another dimension within
Mm-hmm.
dimensions. And I know this sounds silly, but you know, if something were true, we would really know. We by now, all of us would really know the answer, but none of us really know a solid answer to what it is. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why I say it's just a realm. It's neither one. And also, a lot of people think it's like a torus. Is that what it's called? It's big. The energy field of Earth is like bigger, narrow, bigger,
Yeah.
and it kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's one more thing, and then I'll shut up. I'm not 100% about it, but it's very interesting to listen to. It's called Crater Earth. Go on TikTok or YouTube or whatever. And there's people that think we are on a much bigger planet from what we're told, and Earth is just in this crater, and that's kind of why they seal us off. And each crater is another world, but we're told is a different planet, but it's actually just another place on this big ass place. And also they think it's called, I don't know what the hell it is, but somebody lined up, they looked at the moon and they lined up everything, and it actually looked like the map, like our map of our globe lined up on part of the moon. And so they
Really?
think our moon is, dude, look up, And then people think that our moon is a hologram, and that's the actual big thing that we're on, and we're just in a small. I know I don't make sense. Just look it up if you guys are listening. Crater Earth and something called a moon map. It's really, really, really interesting.
I've always kind of thought that the moon was a projection anyway,
Yeah,
or not, at least not a rock, but
yeah.
I don't know. I like, just like anything else, I like speculating and I like hearing people's theories on what it is away from the popular narrative, you know. And I'm sure a lot of people are listening to this, rolling their eyes, being like, "Oh, we've been to space, we've landed on the moon." I don't think the moon landing was real either. So,
Place same photos that they took of Mars.
yeah, I saw that.
I mean, you know.
And, yeah, and they just put the best way to describe it, they put a filter on it to make it red,
Right.
you know, to look really red. And yeah, I saw this. So like it's a picture of the rover or whatever, and it has the background, and it's really, it's red dirt and stuff like that. And it's got this like certain like mountainous or rock kind of structure, not structure, but you know what I mean. It's part of the earth. Um, a mountain or whatever behind it. I can't remember exactly what it looks like, but and then there's like right next to it is a picture of a guy with his thumbs up and standing out there, and it's the same thing, just it's Earth.
When they part of the picture that there's actually a NASA vehicle right there, they just crop that part out. But when you actually see everything, it's crazy.
Oh,
It's
no
crazy.
shit.
It really is. It's the
That is
Truman Show.
crazy.
There you go.
It's weird, and this is where the weird ones come to have these discussions, you know? So, um, but yeah, it's been lovely chatting with you. I'd love to have you on again maybe sometime. Um, Maybe even pick Bob's brain sometime about the CIA stuff. That'd be great. But yeah, man, I really hope whatever that it like um the incubus thing that may that it might be an incubus. I hope that doesn't visit you again because that sucks.
I'll be short. Is that whoever I'm with romantically, they
Hmm.
try to cause strife, or they scare the person, or they give me creepy dreams.
Yep.
And a couple months ago, it showed up in my dream again, and it said something to me, and then shook me and laughed, right? And I woke up screaming, and later, like a week later, what it told me actually happened between me and him. And so that made me nervous that it's kind
Wow.
of hiding in the background. I don't know, but we did do clearing stuff to try to like cleanse things, and we went and we talked to Deb Shakti about it. So hopefully that's okay. But I don't know.
Well, I hope so. I hope so. Um, but do you have any kind of socials that you're interested in having people follow at all? Anything like that?
Sure. Well, I do readings. My website is lalabrightllc.com. I'm also on Facebook, Lala Bright, and on X, it's LalaBright59. I'm not on there as much. But yeah, anybody can contact me. And, I'm a good listener if you want to talk. I've literally heard everything. So don't be nervous about telling me something. So, yeah.
Uh, awesome. Well, guys, I hope you go check her out. She's I mean, if you listen to this entire episode, you can tell that she's a lovely person. She just wants to help people, so don't be afraid to reach out if you're in need or interested of her help. But that is the show today, so I appreciate you all for listening and or watching. whichever. But please like, follow, share, subscribe, leave a rating and review. I'd greatly appreciate it. You can also leave a rating and review on the website where the weird ones are, podcast.com. That's where you can get the merch. That's where you can get the hot sauce. And you can read the blog or the story that I'm writing. New chapter drops every Sunday. And if it doesn't drop on Sunday, I'll let you know in the intro. So with that being said, I hope you guys all have a good night, good day, whatever time you decided to listen to this. And Lala, I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me to tell us your stories, give us some of the insights that you have, the theories that you have, and what you think and stuff like that. I greatly appreciate it. Time is our greatest currency, and the fact that you did this with me tonight means the absolute world to me. So thank you. Sweet. All right, guys. You know the drill. Question everything and stay weird.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.
Because in the end, none of us have very long on this earth. Life is fleeting. And if you're ever distressed, cast your eyes to the summer sky, when the stars are strung across the velvety night, and when a shooting star streaks through the blackness, turning night into day. Make a wish.